year. Adventureland Day at Disneyland is right around the corner, and I need to start getting ready for that. Last year for Adventureland Day, because the Tiki Room is in Adventureland, I made and wore this really cute tiki dress. What I didn't realize is that everyone else interpreted Adventureland Day to be like Indiana Jones and like safari theme, and so everybody was wearing like khaki and safari hats, and I kind of stood out a little bit. The other thing is Adventureland Day is in early March, and in Southern California that is still kind of our rainy season, and it was just really cold and gray and drizzly last year. And so even though it never fully rained, it wasn't super comfortable wearing just a tiki dress with sandals. It did start to get a little bit cold. So this year I wanted to wear something a little bit more in theme with everybody else, and also something that was a little bit more covered up just in case the weather is kind of dark and gray and yucky again. Obviously, I am not a khaki wearing girl. I don't really wear earth tones. I don't think it goes with my skin tone. I don't think it's not my aesthetic. I don't enjoy it. But one of the things that people did do is leopard print, and I can do leopard print, that's fine. So I'm like, okay, leopard print. So what can I do with this that's, you know, not quite so over the top, doesn't take a lot of time because the clock is already ticking. I don't know where 2024 is gone. I feel like time has just sped up this year. So something I can do quickly, easily, and I was like, okay, let me think, what can I do? And I started going through old movies, and one of my favorite things to do is just Google like famous dresses from old movies, and you'll get a bunch of really cool inspiration. And I came upon Marilyn Monroe's traveling dress from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Now this is the dress that she wears toward the beginning of the movie when she and Jane Russell are boarding the ship that's going to take them to Paris. And you know, it's the big head turner, everybody's looking, but it is a classic black dress, 3/4 length sleeve, with these gorgeous, gorgeous leopard print accessories, this cape and this muff. And then the other thing is she has these like khaki tan colored gloves, which I was able to find on Etsy. These are vintage khaki colored gloves. So there we go. I have khaki and I will have leopard print, and that is in keeping with the theme. And this is as much khaki as you will catch me wearing. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that because I can just wear this black dress that I have out of my closet without too much fuss. Luckily I'm short, so 2 yards of this fabric should be more than sufficient to make a cape, because it just needs to be hem length. So shoulder to hem on me, that's like 40-ish inches. So not too much. And then still have left over for the muff. And since the dress that I'm getting, this is just off the rack, I didn't make it, it doesn't have pockets, and I don't want to have to carry a muff and a purse. So what I'm going to do is put some hidden pockets inside the muff, and then that way it's acting as my purse. I just have something I can hold and carry, and it's just one thing that I have to hold and carry. So that's what I'm going to be working on, is just a quick cape and my muff. The great thing about this project is that it's super beginner friendly. It is just a bunch of rectangles, like the entire project is rectangles. So this right here is the muff. So what I've done is I have cut out, let me just show you. These are all 13 inches by 19 inches. So here is a piece of interfacing, and this is my lining fabric. And the lining is going to get interfaced. Here is my leopard print, and then underneath here I have 1, 2, 3 layers of just quilt batting that you can get at the store. If you don't want to use quilt batting, you just want to use your fiberfill or whatever, you totally can, but this is what I'm going to use. And then on the lining, because I'm going to make this a hidden purse, I have 2 pocket rectangles, and these are what did I cut these out at? Oops. 12 inches by 7 inches. So let me scooch this off to the side so you can kind of see. And then I've marked out where the zipper is going to go. I have 2 of these 4-inch zippers. So I have just marked out 4 inches by 1/2 inch in the center, about 1.5 inches down from the top. And that's what I'm going to use to create the pocket. So 2 of these. So again, that's just more rectangles. If you have a longer zipper, if you want to make this bigger, this is a 4-inch zipper, so I made this 4 inches wide. If you have a 5 or 6 inch zipper, same thing, just make it 5 or 6 inches. You're still only going to make it 1/2 inch high, and then we're going to mark it off like this. The other thing that I have for the muff are just these little pieces. This is 3 inches by 2 inches, or 4 inches by 2 inches. These are just to make little loops on the inside that I can use to hold onto it, or put a strap or like a ribbon or something through if I want to make it into kind of more a traditional purse situation. And those are both going to be interfaced. So that's it. That's all you need for the muff. So here's the lining piece. It has been interfaced. These are the 2 pocket pieces. Because they are going to get folded up and that's what's going to create the pocket, I've just folded them in half so we could kind of get some spacing. So I think I want to give it, it's like a good 1.5 inches on each side. Kind of just make sure that they're straight. Okay, then we're going to open them up. You can see the line that I have marked before. I'm going to just go ahead and stitch directly on that line, pivoting in the corners for both of these pieces, and then I'll be right back to show you the next step. All right, I've gone ahead and stitched around the edge, and now I'm going to just cut on these little lines that I've marked out. So I always just fold it in half and do a little snip with my sharpest, pointiest scissors. And then I can just follow the line, and you're going to do that little Y cut down into each corner without snipping any of the stitches that you just did. And you're going to do that on both pockets, both sides. All right, and now that that's done, I'm just going to flip the whole thing inside. And iron this out nice and flat. Now that it's been ironed, you kind of have an idea of what these pockets are going to look like. So the zipper openings are nice and smooth. This is what it looks like from the front. This is going to be like the visible-ish part of your lining. So you can see there's just those nice open spaces for your zipper. And it's very simple. You're just going to take your zipper and put it in that little opening space, and you're just going to pin it down all the way around. Just make sure it's nice and straight, you know, as close to the center as you can get it. And then you're just going to sew all the way around that zipper to keep it in place. These are the 2 by 4 inch strips that I had cut out earlier. I've just interfaced them and then sewn them with a 1/4 inch seam allowance along the long edge and 1 short edge. And because I'm going to flip these out, I'm going to go ahead and trim the corner back. You just want to get rid of that extra bulk that's going to be in there. I'm using my 3/8 inch tube turner, and I love these so much. You just kind of stick it right in. And the reason you sew along the short edge is so that you have something to push against the dowel, and then it just flips right inside out. And then you use the dowel to kind of poke out the corners, and you're all set. And I'm going to use these on my lining. Notice my zippers are all sewn down. And I'm just going to, you know, tuck back one of the raw edge and sew them down. And then that way I will have a little handle on each edge of the inside of the lining that I can use to kind of hang on to or put a strip through or whatever. So this is what my lining looks like. There are my zippers and my handles.
and you just fold over that extra fabric and then sew it all along the edge. I think I did like a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but that is what gives you the nice pocket that's going to actually hold your stuff. So now all I need to do is kind of layer the rest of my pieces. So there is my 3 layers of batting and my leopard print. And I'm just going to go ahead and sew these all together on the long sides. Just remember that right sides together means the side with the zippers and the leopard print are going to be touching each other. So I've sewn along both long edges, and the thing with batting is you're going to have a bunch of this extra bulk, and I don't want that, so I'm going to go ahead and just trim that away before I move on to the next step. It's time to turn this right side out, so you're going to find your lining and your leopard print, and you're going to split them apart and then flip this tube right side out. And so now you have this very nice rectangle that's going to just be all the nice leopard print on one side and then nice and fluffy. And when you flip it over, it's going to be the lining with your pockets and the handles and all that good stuff. And then we're just going to bring the leopard sides together, and we're going to take that to our machine and just sew that, and that's going to just be like the bottom seam of this muff. So I've sewn the leopard print together, and now I need to sew the lining. For this, I'm just going to do some hand stitching, so I'm just going to kind of fold back the seam allowance and pin it down, and then that way I can just do some hand stitching. To sew down the lining, I just did a basic fell stitch. This is a really easy stitch. You basically go up at the top and then pull your needle at a diagonal through the bottom layer, and then you go straight up and do it again. So on the inside of the fabric, it's going to be like a diagonal, but the part that you see on the outside looks like a bunch of just straight little lines. And also, don't stress about this. This is going to be the lining on the inside of the muff. Literally, no one is going to see this. The wrap part is also just rectangles. So this is actually 2 pieces. This is 10 inches and then 50 inches long. And that is to accommodate my shoulder to hem length, and then from my shoulder down around to the front of my chest. So I have 2 of these leopard print pieces, and then I have 2 of lining pieces, both 10 by 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these together, but these are going to meet in the middle of my chest, right? And so I want, when I pet it, that it'll be nice and smooth going out toward my shoulders. So I'm just making sure to find the nap. So there's that one. And then when I do the other side, oh, see, I don't want that. There we go. And then when I sew these together in the center, it'll be nice and smooth going this way and nice and smooth going that way. All right, so I have sewn this together, just a standard 5/8 seam allowance, and it's nice and smooth. I have kind of some pattern matching just for like the light to dark-ish stripe, but you don't have to worry about that if you don't want to, because actual animals, you know, aren't perfect patterns, so it gives it a little bit more authenticity. So don't stress about it if you don't want to. And then I just have this right side up. I'm going to take my lining pieces, and I have ironed down the seam allowance, and I'm going to match those here in the center so that they meet up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start pinning these all the way down. And what I'm going to do is sew all the way down around the corner, all the way back up. I know this thing is 100 inches long. It doesn't all fit on my table. But I'm going to leave this middle part open. Here we are, pinned all the way around. So now I'm just going to go ahead and sew. So you see I have it sewn all the way around. This part is still open.
And all I'm gonna do now is trim the corners because we are gonna flip this inside out. And whenever you flip it inside out, you wanna make sure you get rid of as much bulk in the corners as possible. If you wanna be real fancy, you can go through and grade all of these seam allowances. But this is just, you know, for a quick little costume thing for me. So I'm not gonna stress about it. I might go in later if I really want to remake this thing and make it fancy. I might do it, but for right now, that's good. And so now I'm just going to come through and grab those corners that I just clipped and flip it inside out, or I guess right side out. And I'm going to just use the little turner thing that I had from before when I made those little tubes. And I'm just going to use it to really kind of get up in that corner and make it nice and sharp. There we go. So there's one half, all nice and finished. And flip the other half through and do the same thing on the other side.
I have turned out all of the corners. Now all that is left is to kind of straighten this out and sew up that center seam in the lining that was left open so I could, you know, turn it right side out. And I'm just going to use the same fell stitch that I used to sew up the lining in the muff.
Okay, there we go. Nice and neat, closed up on the inside. I'm just gonna give this a nice press. And then the next step is just to pleat it up for the shoulders. So it's gonna kind of go up and around, and then it's gonna fall over my shoulders, kind of like that. My leopard wrap is done. This doesn't have any shaping in it right now because it's just rectangles, but I thought that that would be easier as like a beginner project. Plus, it's a lot more flexible. Like obviously I'm planning to wear it in a very specific way, but if you just want to have like a leopard print scarf, there you go. Or, you know, you can practice just wrapping it around you all different kinds of ways. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with it because, you know, it's up to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pin it up and then kind of gather it up onto my shoulder on both sides. And I'll probably put a couple of just stitches in just to keep it from shifting around. And then I'll do the same on the other side until I get the nice shape that I want. But I mean, look how gorgeous is that? And then I have finished my muff. This is the inside. So you can see I finished hand stitching just that inside seam. And this is what it looks like. On the inside, I have my pockets on both sides. And then they zip up so that way I won't lose anything. And my two little straps. And then what I'm going to do is just flip it right side out. And oh my gosh, how cute is that? So you can see I have my hand on the little strap and that keeps it exactly where I want it. I can pull my hands in a little bit and just kind of hold on to it very lightly. I don't need to use it at all. I can just have it, but this way if I'm walking around, it won't fall off because I can just hold it. So I don't have to worry about it just sliding off of my hand, especially since this is going to have, you know, my credit cards and stuff in it for tomorrow. But that's pretty much how we're looking. So I'm just going to do a couple of little stitches on here to keep it secure. And then I am ready for Adventureland Day.
I just did a couple of pleats on each shoulder and then sewed them down. Super easy, and there's the shaping and it's all ready to go. I had so much fun at Adventureland today. Thanks for watching.